Sometimes people vanish without a sound, leaving behind more questions than clues. Ordinary days twist into chilling mysteries that defy all logic or reason. There are no ransom notes, no signs of struggle, just a sudden void where a life once was. These are the horrible fates and craziest disappearances that continue to haunt the world. By the end of this video, you'll uncover the hidden truths behind these disappearances, the clues authorities missed, and the haunting questions that still echo today. In the summer of 2018, a young woman from France landed in Japan, ready to explore its calm temples, misty forests, and quiet beauty. Her name was VEYRON, kind, artistic, and full of curiosity. She had planned every detail of her journey, hoping for peace and a break from her daily routine back home. Nothing about her life or that morning suggested the tragedy that was about to unfold. TIFAIN spent her first night in Tokyo, then made her way to the mountain town of Nikkō, known for its sacred shrines and waterfalls. Her hotel was simple, surrounded by tall trees and a cool, silent river. On the morning of July 29th, she came down for breakfast, smiled at other guests, and even appeared in a photo taken around 8:40 a.m. Everything seemed perfectly ordinary. A few hours later, she was gone. No one knows exactly what happened next. The hotel manager claimed she left around 9:50 that morning, wearing casual clothes and carrying a small shoulder bag. Her phone, however, seemed to remain inside her room for nearly 2 more hours. When staff checked later, her suitcase, passport, and personal belongings were still there, untouched. Only she, and that small bag, had vanished. The police searched the area for weeks. They combed through forests, riverbanks, and hiking paths. Drones and dogs were deployed, but not a single trace surfaced. There were no witnesses, no calls, no signs of a struggle. It was as if she had simply stepped out of her room and dissolved into the air. Her family flew to Japan, desperate for answers. They retraced her steps, distributed flyers, and pleaded with the authorities to dig deeper. But the mystery only thickened. Phone data, timelines, and testimonies didn't line up. Some claimed to have seen her near the temple trails. Others said she never left the building. Every lead ended in the same dead end: silence. Years have passed, and the questions remain frozen in time. How could someone disappear in a country covered with cameras and security? Was it an accident in the wilderness, a medical emergency, or something far more sinister? TIFAIN's family still travels back to Japan, holding on to hope and searching for clues that might finally break the silence. Her face appears on posters, her story in documentaries, her name whispered among those fascinated by unexplained vanishings. One day, everything was normal: a camera flash, a smile, a quiet breakfast. The next, she was gone. In a place known for peace and safety, she left behind an emptiness that refuses to fade. What began as a holiday to find calm became one of Japan's most chilling unsolved disappearances, a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary mornings can end in the strangest ways. In a world so connected, how can a person vanish without leaving even a whisper behind? But TIFAIN's disappearance isn't the only one that defies logic, because thousands of miles away, another young life took a turn just as strange, one that began with laughter, friendship, and a weekend that should have ended like any other, but never did. If you're following these unbelievable cases closely, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss another story this chilling. It started like any other weekend. 18-year-old EBIE STEPP spent her Friday night hanging out with friends in Little Rock, Arkansas. She was cheerful, full of energy, and always the kind of person who brightened a room. Nothing about her behavior hinted that she would soon step into a mystery that would haunt her family for years. The following days seemed ordinary. She sent messages, made calls, and even spoke with her brother on Sunday afternoon. Her voice, though, carried a strange mix of calm and confusion. She said she didn't know exactly where she was. Then, the call dropped. That was the last time anyone ever heard from her. Not long after, her car, a silver Volkswagen, was discovered parked inside a quiet neighborhood park. The keys were still in the ignition, her phone and purse inside. The engine was off, the tank empty, and the battery drained, but she was nowhere to be found. Police searched the surrounding area and came up empty-handed. No footprints, no signs of a struggle, no trace of where she might have gone. To them, it looked like a simple case of a runaway teenager. But her family knew something was very wrong. She had plans, dreams, and no reason to vanish. Days turned into weeks. Her loved ones kept pushing authorities to search deeper, to treat her disappearance seriously. Rumors began to swirl about something that might have happened the night before she went missing, something she had wanted to report. But without her, the truth stayed out of reach. Over time, the park where her car was found became a grim reminder of unanswered questions. Volunteers, police, and even cadaver dogs went through it multiple times. Still, nothing. Her case slowly grew cold, while her mother and brother refused to give up. They returned again and again to that same park, convinced that the answer was hiding there. And then, almost 3 years later, it was. In 2018, workers inspecting a drainage pipe near the same park stumbled upon human remains. Forensic tests confirmed what everyone had feared. It was EBIE. She had been there all along, just a few feet away from where the search first began. How she ended up there, what happened before that final night, and why it took years to find her. Those are questions that still have no clear answers. Authorities confirmed her death was a homicide, but no one has ever been charged. It's a haunting thought. A teenager vanishes in broad daylight, her car waiting patiently for her return, her story buried beneath the ground where everyone had already looked. What began as an ordinary weekend ended in a silence that refuses to fade. Sometimes the most chilling mysteries don't happen in the shadows. They unfold in plain sight, under the illusion of normal life, until one moment turns everything into darkness. It was a quiet night in May 2008. 19-year-old Brandon Swanson had just finished celebrating the end of his first year in college. He said goodbye to his friends, got into his car, and started driving home through the dark rural roads of Minnesota. Everything about that night was perfectly ordinary, until it wasn't. Around midnight, Brandon's car slipped off a gravel road and got stuck in a shallow ditch. It wasn't a major accident. The car wasn't damaged, and he wasn't hurt. He did what anyone would do. He called his parents for help. His father, Brian, answered. Brandon explained calmly that he was fine, just stranded, and he described where he thought he was. His parents drove out immediately, talking to him on the phone the entire time, trying to find him. They flashed their headlights. He said he could see them, but they couldn't see him. It was as if they were in two different worlds, separated by darkness. After a while, Brandon said he'd start walking toward a town he could see in the distance. He stayed on the phone with his father as he walked. The conversation lasted for nearly 47 minutes. They talked about normal things, college, life, the frustrating situation. Then, suddenly, the sound of his voice changed, and the line went dead. His father called back again and again, but Brandon never picked up. The call had ended in the middle of nowhere, and so had the trail. Police began searching immediately. They found his car, exactly where he said it was, but there was no sign of him nearby. His phone continued to ping for a while, suggesting he had kept walking after the call dropped. But where he went, no one knows. Hundreds of volunteers searched the area, fields, rivers, farms, and ditches. Dogs traced his scent up to a nearby riverbank, and then it stopped. Not a single piece of clothing, no footprints, no phone, nothing. It was as if Brandon had stepped off the face of the earth. For years, his parents kept searching. Every spring, when the snow melted, they returned to the same roads, hoping the thaw might reveal something new. Each time, they found nothing but silence. Investigators have theories. Maybe he fell into the river, maybe he wandered further than anyone thought. But none of it explains how someone could disappear in a space so open, so familiar, yet leave absolutely no trace. Brandon's phone was never recovered. His body was never found. His last words still echo through the mystery that surrounds that night. A simple, startled phrase, followed by endless silence. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. You won't want to miss the shocking stories we have coming next.